Sustainability Board, January 24, 2018, 7 p.m.
Okay, this is a call to order of the Sustainability Board for January 24th, 2018, and we will start with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, so it's been a while since we've been, because we had a break during Christmas. And it's good to be back. We've got a lot of good stuff going on already in the city. And so I guess the first thing we need to do is open it up for public comment. Anybody want to say anything? Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item number 4, staff update.
Okay, staff update. So, welcome to 2018, everybody. So nice to have you all here. We have a lot of projects coming up from the community development department, following through with the different grants that were approved. The National Estuary Program grant for the DeSoto Stormwater Enhancement Project was approved, and we've started community outreach. The first part of that community outreach is informational pamphlets. Started going door to door, but I'm going to need a little more help with that, so I've talked to PD about having them help with these flyers. These are the flyers that we're going to put out. They have a combination of information about stormwater education, and the DeSoto Stormwater Enhancement Project itself, focusing on bioswales and how to reduce stormwater pollution at home. As an insert, there is included a double-sided, happy error at the printers, a double-sided sustainability workshops in 2018 insert that outlines the different types of workshops that we will have in 2018 as part of our sustainability action plan. This is one of our green achievement targets, is to create a series of workshops. So take a look at those workshops, tell me what you think. We can make adjustments, but these are basically the topics of conversations that we'll have throughout the year. I have dates outlined. Again, we can change things if we have to. We will put all this information up on the city website and adjust it as necessary. I'm looking to do them here. The first one will be here tomorrow in this very chamber at 7 p.m. And it'll be called Isn't It Swale? Isn't It Swale talks about the DeSoto Stormwater Enhancement Project in detail, about bioswales as an example along DeSoto and as a option for residents. That goes along with the council meeting approving the use of funds to create bioswales in people's homes along the lagoon as part of a small plant grant match program, upwards of $500 per resident. They can apply for. Up to 20 residents will be approved in the first pilot program portion of that project along the lagoon to vegetate in front of their seawall, or behind their seawall rather, to reduce stormwater impacts. That project will also be coming out soon, and we'll talk more about that in July. On the 26th, it'll be completely ready to be rolled out. Hopefully we'll have all of our people by then. The survey is to better understand the residents where they stand in terms of the lagoon, and to get an idea of if they're using the Lagoon Friendly Lawn program. That way we can get an idea of that. We want to do a Lagoon Friendly Lawn program for residents, one for contractors, and that'll be something coming up also soon. I'm working with KBB to select a date, probably in February, to go along with our February workshop of Nice and Native, where we will talk about the updates to the beautification boards, Lawn of the Month program, to go more in native and try to incentivize that kind of behavior. We also went to the Sustainability Summit. That was a lot of fun. Learned a lot. Really powerful presentations from all of those presenters there. Other than that, we're going to be doing a lot of this NEP DeSoto Stormwater Project. That's the main focus, along with the workshops in 2018. I'll be going to the schools. I got a couple of different
When you
schools.
say the DeSoto Stormwater Project, are you talking about?
The NEP bioswale, not the main pond. The pond will be happening, and this will kind of be a precursor to that, so that we can get residents aware slowly but surely of what's happening, and that'll kind of ease them into the idea of it. So we'll have those conversations and kind of prep them, and then December city projects update, that workshop will be kind of focused more towards the DeSoto stormwater pond itself. That way they're eased into that.
Can you tell us a little bit about that NEP project? Where exactly on DeSoto is it?
So in the median itself, we're going to create a series of bioswales
On the east end of DeSoto?
inside the medians themselves.
All the medians or just?
Where it's feasible,
Okay.
18,000 total square feet.
Because on the east end, there's that big, like, ditch. in
There's the
there.
ditch. So on the ditch side, the idea is to put coquina rock along the ditch edge where there currently is the concrete, and then coquina rock that, remove some of the grass there, and put coquina rock. That way, the maintenance and public works doesn't have to weed whack those grasses. And I know they do the best that they can, and they do a really good job, but they may miss the occasional grass blade that goes into that infrastructure and goes down into that ditch area. So if we can put some coquina rock there, we will eliminate that possible hazard of having grass clippings falling into that stormwater area, reducing more nutrients that way.
So are you just going to pull the, are you going to leave grass in there?
We're gonna-
Like regular grass, or is
we're gonna
it
try to-
all going to go away?
Well, we're going to leave some, because we can't get to all of it in this project, just because of funding. But what we will do is we'll try to make it easier for them to do maintenance, make them doing less maintenance, and reducing stormwater impacts and nutrient inputs. Those are the main goals of that project. And that'll all be outlined in the PowerPoint that I'll deliver tomorrow as the first workshop in the series. It's all done with volunteers and partnering with the NEP, Balance for Earth, FIT, and possibly the DEP if the contract gets finished in time.
Sounds good.
What is the time of the workshop? Doesn't have that.
7 PM.
7 p.m.
7 PM. I didn't put any times or locations in because maybe we want to do one, well, yeah, it'll be here tomorrow, but maybe we want to do future workshops. If anybody has any suggestions of locations, maybe, Cantina Dos or Long Doggers or Papagallos, where we can get more of a community reception as opposed to City Hall. I love going to City Hall for stuff, but I'm weird. So, maybe it's easier for people to show up to things that are at, public.
I would take that
areas.
one. That's a good idea to have it
It's
at.
Courtney's idea. It's a good idea.
Because then people can eat and.
They get to eat, they get to have a drink, they get to relax.
Mhm.
So I'll start outreaching to other locations for possible venues.
Satellite Breeze might be cool, because that place just turned over.
That'd be a good one. Satellite Breeze.
Satellite Breeze,
Yeah.
it used to be Neptune's.
Mm-hmm. Old Gilligan's Cove.
Oh.
Anybody want to name any other old names for the restaurant?
Yeah, I did forgot about that place.
The Cove?
Huge place, that's a big.
Cove? Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Gilligan's Cove, not the Cove.
How many names has it had?
It's had a lot.
All right.
I thought it was Gilligan's Cove.
Just a cove.
I thought the Cove was, anyway. Sorry. So, yeah, that's kind of,
So the first one will be here
Yeah.
tomorrow, 7 o'clock here.
and then I'm trying to do it every third Thursday. That way, because that falls on no city meetings, interferes with no programs, and I can probably make it happen with my class, that I can,
I like it. You got some great topics there.
thanks.
And it looks like you put a lot of work into this.
Yep,
So who, as far as the content of each one of these,
I'll try to have co-speakers for most of them, like Nice and Native, I might have someone from the beautification board there.
Or the Native Plant Society.
That'd be a good one, that'd be a really good one.
They would love to speak about natives.
Lawn maintenance, KBB, community involvement and stewardship, I might just take that one myself, or have somebody from the board help out. You guys are more than welcome to be involved with that.
Bill DeLuca could help.
Bill would be a great one.
Mhm.
And any ideas, let me know during the year. We'll figure out ways to make these really, really well. And Dylan has agreed to video not that he's not busy enough already, but to help video these, and we'll put them up on the city website. We'll put them up on the city website so that people can view them in retrospect.
So these will all be on Facebook? And
Facebook, city website.
And how are these getting distributed? By mail?
So I've walked and delivered about 1,000 of these. I'm going to work with the police department and their volunteer program to help to deliver the rest of them because my feet hurt.
Yeah, that's a hard way to do it. We could put them up at like Decon Diego's.
And we'll do that. Yeah, I have enough where we can flyer. We printed 5,000, so if you guys ever want to stuff flyers, feel free to stop by my office.
Yeah, you should have brought some with you.
Yeah,
Go grab them.
I got some.
At the end.
Other than that, we had the Sustainability Summit where, through everybody's help and participation, particularly Chair and Jazzy, you're not Vice Chair, are you? Who's Vice Chair?
I'm actually still vice chair.
You're still Vice Chair. Officially. Well, with Dave and Jazzy's help, we've done a lot of outreach, and we have all the boards on board that we wanted to see, and we just added Cocoa to the list as well, as Ken Linderman recommended it. The flyers are made, the agenda is set, and every city has agreed to send a PowerPoint with the name of who's presenting and some goals and contact info.
Seems like it's getting some good interest and traffic on Facebook.
The Facebook traffic was really, really well. I'm going to go on WFIT next week and talk about it as well. We'll have, some more.
You gotta talk about sustainability summit, huh?
Yeah, we'll talk about the summit and a few of the other things we're doing as far as the sustainability action plan. I think that's enough for me. I can keep going, but I think that's enough. We'll just cut it there.
Yeah, you kind of bled into our
Yeah.
next topic, which was discuss take action on the sustainability summit. But before we start that,
Any questions on staff update?
the sustainability symposium that we all attended in Orlando was unbelievable.
Yeah.
We got a lot out of that. They had some incredible speakers there. This guy named Jeremy Rifkin that spoke on the third industrial revolution. He's got a great book out, and you can actually go on YouTube and just search on Jeremy Rifkin. And if you just want to,
The movie's out too.
oh, it is.
I was looking it up last night and I saw the
Drawdown
trailer on
one?
YouTube. No.
That's another
With
guy.
Vice, he did a third industrial revolution. I think it came out in April.
That's Paul Hawkins.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's Jeremy Rifkin?
No. Paul was the drawdown. Jeremy's the vice.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Rifkin, the first speaker.
Paul Hawkins was the last speaker.
Paul Hawkins.
He's got the drawdown.
Yeah, exactly.
But the third industrial revolution guy,
Yeah.
he's got the documentary.
So basically, what Jeremy Rifkin was saying, and I know I've probably told you about it and stuff, but he believes that we are entering what is the third industrial revolution. And to have a revolution, like an industrial revolution, you have to have a new form of energy, new transportation, and communication all come together. So the Internet of Things is a communication, and the Internet. Improvements to transportation and logistics through self-driving semis and
Self-driving everything.
automobiles, everything. And then renewable energy he believes that solar is going to get really cheap, and it's going to continue to get cheap. And that basically everybody will have it on their house, and everybody will be their own power producer, which will open up a lot of opportunities for people.
Saving money, could spend it
And
somewhere
rather
else.
than a hierarchical society, it'll be more lateral. So we'll see. It's pretty interesting, though. I definitely believe the self-driving car thing is going to come faster than we think it is, just because there's a lot of money to be made in it, and there's a lot of people that want to be that the first company or the big player in it.
And so many big people are doing it. Google's doing it.
Oh yeah,
Tesla's doing
Google,
it, yeah.
Apple, GM. I mean, all the European car makers, they all want a piece of that pie.
They already talked about phasing out steering wheels, literally.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of them.
Yeah, I think
Said they're going to get rid of theirs.
I think within 5 years you're going to see them all over the place. But I don't know. I mean, the technology's
They don't
there.
force
It's
you. They don't want even the option of a steering wheel.
You don't have the option.
Apple's Apple's being real silent about it, but I think you're gonna see something major come out of Apple.
They're gonna get rid of the CD player, they just bought a brand new.
That's hilarious.
So they're gonna keep the CD player. They're gonna add back 8 tracks.
You won't be able to push buttons, to be voice command.
But the other thing, that Paul Hawken guy, he has what he calls drawdown, and he was, I guess he was in charge of this research to go out and determine what the biggest,
Carbon.
the biggest things we can do to
Reduce
re-
climate change.
to stop climate change and reverse it, basically. And so he has a list of 100 things. And some of the things,
Food waste was,
yeah, food, is that number one?
number
No,
one.
refrigeration.
Well, was it, yeah?
Refrigeration was number
Yeah,
one.
we waste like 40% of our food in the world, or something like that. And he said, that right there is one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gases and climate change, according to the research. But
Mhm.
So anyway, that was a really good summit, and I met a lot of good people. It was sponsored by the Green Building Count,
Mhm.
Building, what was it?
Green Builders.
Green Builder magazine, and so if you have a chance, go on Green Builder. They have copies of the magazines on there, and there's a lot of good articles on sustainability and things that we can apply.
They also have the whole presentation.
Do they really?
Oh, they do?
Oh,
Oh, I want to, yeah, that would be cool.
All those like tall camera looking things that were like planted throughout the middle of the room and on the sides, those were all like little live feeds, like a cell phone thing.
Is it better than what you got?
I don't know, I haven't watched it, I
Yeah,
just
so he
know.
recorded the whole thing too.
Yeah, I recorded the whole thing too,
And,
because it's great content. I mean,
Mhm.
Ken Letterman was telling me like, you gotta get these speakers, I was like, I gotta get these speakers.
Yeah, they were inspirational, like amazing. Like the other guy was the governor or the former governor of Maryland.
Yeah.
And, what was his name?
McDonald or
Yeah, something like that.
oh my gosh, why is it escaping me right now?
Anyway, he actually ran. He was a presidential candidate for the Democrats, running against
McMullen?
Hillary,
No.
and he spoke at the.
That one woman, her, that was there speaking on clean energy, or, moving away from nuclear.
Oh, I think it's-
radioactive. Her father created Captain Planet.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
Turner.
Turner, yeah.
I'm not. yeah,
Laura,
It's Ted's daughter.
Yeah, I found that really interesting. I was like, oh, wow.
yeah, she was pretty cool.
But
Kind of a
her-
hippie. You could tell
Yeah,
she
but
was a
that's,
hippie.
I know, but I found it really interesting. Her number one priority was stopping all of the nuclear plants. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
And she like made a huge point of, spending like 5 or 10 minutes on
Laura Turner Seidel.
Yeah.
That's
I think
it.
is her name. Yeah. So yeah, she's awesome too. She's got a lot of good stuff going on, and the other thing is I was talking to Green Builder magazine. They're very interested in what this city is doing, and especially with the code changes that we're working on as part of the climate change ambassadors, and so
O'Malley.
O'Malley, yeah.
Meg O'Malley. Oh, what?
That's his daughter. That's his daughter.
Threw me off, I'm like, there's 2 M's in there.
So anyway, yeah, if, what was I talking about?
speakers.
Speakers. Yeah. Green Builder Magazine, yeah, they're interested in what we're doing.
Mhm.
So we may, how do you guys feel about that as far as letting them, or giving them information on what we're doing and getting it in
Yeah.
Green Builder Magazine?
I got a good contact from them about seawalls and living shorelines. Trying to talk to the builders that do the seawall work, and if we can get them involved with living shorelines, we can transition that business into something that is more sustainable on a level where if it's profitable for them and it's environmentally sound, it might be a nice option that they can give homeowners. As well as a seawall, they can also do a living shoreline with riprap and native plants and things like that. So they're receptive, actually. So I got a contact off of that, which is good.
Yeah, they're based in Colorado. In fact, they're building this new facility, like out in the middle of nowhere, literally, right in the middle of the 14ers. And the if I ever go out there, I want to go check the place out. Because to get to it, you have to hike in. You can't even drive into it. So it sounds really cool, but anyway, I made a contact. Her name was...
That's how I want to get to work.
Yeah.
An excuse for being late. I was hiking.
You got chased by a wolf.
Some of the stuff they're focused on is kind of geared more toward like the Colorado cold weather environment, not so much, what we're doing here, but, a lot of it's still applicable, and maybe we can give them some stuff that, that they could use in the magazine too. Some old stuff we learned about. All right, so, I guess, let's move on to
Number 6.
number 5. I guess we need to talk a little bit more about the Sustainability Summit. So it's on February 8th. We have a workshop beforehand for, I think, 45 minutes or an hour that's put on by Ken Lindeman and Zach. And they're going to basically give cities instruction on how to put together a sustainability plan and how they did ours. So I don't know, do we have any, if we have anybody signed up for that, or are people just going to show up?
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
It's kind of part of the event at this point, although it's not the main focus, it's part of it. So everybody that's going to get the flyer, and if everybody would like to help flyer it out there, I can email it to everybody, the final version. And 5 o'clock, that's what it starts with. We have different people tabling. So far, it's the
When you say tabling, there's going to be like tables set up?
out in the breezeway.
Okay.
So that way, when people show up, they can, if they want to listen to Ken, they can go and listen to Ken, and if they want to. So I told the tabling people to show up at about 4:30. Be set up by 4:45. We got KDD, the zoo, MRC, and Native Plant Society, and I think IRL Coalition. I think that's the 5.
Wow.
Quick question, sorry to interrupt that. Did the commissioners get invited?
Ooh, that'd be a good poll.
The county commissioners, or?
Yeah.
I'll make it a point.
All right.
Yeah.
Please do, because I talked with Virginia a while ago about trying to get a sustainability board in the county, and she said now's the time because of, Jim and a few others that would be a yes. She thinks there's 4 yeses as of right now.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay.
And so I talked with Bo and Karen and kind of initiated them because they've been the ones kind of running around with that group doing the sustainability board expansion across the county. And so now they're organizing meetings with each commissioner and trying to get them on board with the idea of implementing a sustainability board on the county level. I think this is a good place for them to come and experience and learn and actually understand what they're getting themselves into. So if you guys could try to get them here, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll send out them. Also reached out to the different mayors and city managers of all the cities as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Brevard, or Space Coast Realtor Association, Phyllis?
Yep. Yeah, I told
Yeah,
Danielle
they
to,
have Danielle and Steve, or I think they're either one or both of them are coming.
well, Danielle has a little bit of a conflict because she sits on the Citizen Oversight Committee for Lagoon Tax with Courtney.
Okay.
So they're trying to talk with the county to figure out how that works, because they're technically not supposed to show up to the same event together unless it's like publicly notified.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, Steve could go then.
Steve would
He's
go.
interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to at least get like Tammy or someone from that group to the meeting, because they're trying to be very active through the whole county.
So we have an agenda, and the agenda is we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing in the city, and I guess I need some information from you if I'm going to do it, or
You're going to do it.
I'm going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I need to get with you before that. And just,
Okay. Yeah, we'll sit down and we'll write out like a 1-pager for you,
Okay.
kind of outlining projects and where we're at.
Is there anything in particular we should discuss? Like,
Goals and achievements.
so, I mean, as far as our green achievement targets, like which ones?
We'll talk
we
about
can't-
solar on City Hall, community garden, EV vehicles, and soft infrastructure, workshops, all the ones we've checked.
Okay.
Yeah, and
You're probably more in tune with what?
I'll get you a
what's
list.
active. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get you a list.
Let's talk about dark skies.
And dark skies.
Yeah.
It's next, right?
Yeah.
But then do we know how many cities are actually going to present?
Just remember, who do you know?
Yeah.
They know that they're
Yeah,
going
they all know. They're all aware.
So they have a representative already assigned?
I've emailed everybody.
He works for Sierra Club.
Okay. Just wanna-
Some of them will be staff, some of them will be board members, some of them will be city managers, and maybe one mayor.
That's awesome.
And I think we have, when I looked over the agenda, there's only like 5 or 10 minutes. for each
Yeah.
city, so.
And, I mean, I told them, like, a lot of them are like, well, you know, we're not really there yet, so I said, look, if you can do 5 minutes, that's fine. You know, we're not trying to put you on the spot, we just want to get you in the spotlight.
Okay.
And
So are we
then,
going to run it kind of like
just like this, pretty
just
much.
like this?
That's kind of the way that I was thinking it would go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who will be sitting up here?
Well, we're going to be across the way.
Oh, that's true, we'll be over there. But there will be a podium and...
There'll be the podium and then long tables. There's the stage, so I guess we'll be up on the, or y'all will be up on the stage.
What about refreshments? Is that
Yeah, I can see about that. I think it'd be,
kombucha? Can you get some kombucha?
the Red
They
Seed,
have the green...
Red Seed is, just off the way there on South Patrick. They do kombucha.
Yeah, that's my neighbor.
They're really good,
That's
too.
not, what is it called? Red Seed?
Isn't it Red Seed?
No, that's not Red.
Red what?
Redbird.
Oh, Red Bird,
I
sorry.
won't talk to you, Carrie.
Did you talk to her about that,
I'm
maybe?
your neighbor and I will.
I'll look at the budget for it.
Yeah, so that would be cool, and if we could just get something, what about like,
Granola. Cups of granola and kombucha. We're gonna be real crunchy.
is there anything else we grow around here, or it's like locally sourced? Maybe has chickens. Get someone to-
Just raw eggs.
Hard-boiled eggs from, so I don't know,
Salt and pepper. So do that.
but it would be cool if we could do, I mean, not to the level of.
No, but I like that. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Sustainability Symposium had some incredible food.
Oh, man.
They had kombucha,
Yes, sir.
which was kind of cool.
Mhm.
That could be
But
cool.
we paid for that in the.
And then we could like
Oh, yeah.
compost.
Yeah, we did.
You compost all the.
There's all local and all that, right?
Okay. Is that-
Yeah, and it is gonna be around dinner time, so there's probably gonna be people like me that are, you know, carrying their pizzas here and stuff, unless we provide them with food, so.
I
so
think
we'd have
maybe,
something.
maybe not providing food, but snacks.
Right,
Would be
just
good.
something to time over in case.
Unless you want to try to do like a outreach to a business and, I don't know, we could talk about
Happy,
that.
healthy human.
Lots of popcorn.
Non-GMO organic, blue kernel popcorn.
Yeah, we'll get together before the summit. and
Okay.
talk over that, but,
I like that, that's a good idea.
So,
Dylan?
I didn't even know until I was having a conversation about our city at the Everglades Conference. Someone that I've done some stuff with in Sierra Club is actually the executive director of Dark Skies. So I've actually known her for like over a year.
What?
And I had no idea.
Oh my
that
God.
that she did this. Because I've always just looked at her as like just everything she's done in Sierra Club. But, yeah, so can I invite her to this? And
Yes, please, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty much open to anybody, right?
Yeah, it's open to anybody, especially someone like that.
Okay.
We'll get them, her,
Yes, sir.
in touch with all the different boards, and then Dark Skies will be happening sooner. And Jazzy, of course, you'll make a new friend.
Yeah, and I guess I should be, so is there any more discussion on the Sustainability Summit? Did we cover everything?
I think so, I mean, unless anyone has any questions.
Okay. I guess I should ask for public comment after
Mhm.
each one of these.
Yep.
So doesn't seem like we have many people.
Just support.
But that's another thing, is we should focus on trying to get more interest in what we're doing and trying to get more people out here. So everybody you talk to, especially if they're, well, even if they're not environmentally conscious, or,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to get people that aren't too, just so that they can understand what we're doing and appreciate, you know, the work that goes into this.
So as we do our outreach for the NEP project, I mean, I can just add that to it.
Yeah, we have, I mean, I've met a lot of, I've been thinking lately about who I know in the city that, because we may also need to fill some seats up here. So that's something we need to be thinking about too.
You guys gonna let me know about it?
Well, so how many, so you're an alternate, so we lost Eugene.
Yeah,
It's just a council vote's all you need.
that's all you need.
Yeah. So we definitely, I got.
Remember, we have Amy on the bench too.
I got 2 or 3 guys,
Okay.
that, I'm gonna try to get interested in that and maybe the climate change ambassador, but.
And we did receive an application today from someone that's interested in this board.
There we
So
go.
they'll probably, once they move up, then they'll probably become the alternate.
Okay.
Maybe we could promote the meetings on the Facebook page too, because the Facebook page gets a lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Facebook has really been favoring events recently. They feed them very well to timelines,
Mhm.
so.
So when you, I remember last time we talked about Facebook and we were sending too many things on the page too frequently. When you put an event on there, does that also count as a,
Because everything you do on Facebook counts as activity, but Facebook events are actually very strong, so I would actually right now say that's one of the best things you could post.
So we could post our board meetings, other workshops, and I want to start also posting beach cleanups, because that's another one of our green achievement targets.
What about the ambassador meetings?
Ambassador meetings. Courtney posted one of hers. We should link up with her on that for sure. That's a good idea.
and I've seen a lot of people from other communities get on our
Mhm.
sustainability page and complain about swales and things like
I
that.
saw that one.
That guy's a friend of mine,
Yeah.
actually, so I'm
Hey,
wondering.
constructive criticism's a good thing. Keeps us
Yeah.
motivated.
Yeah, they obviously had some bad swale projects in Melbourne Beach,
Mhm.
and made a lot of people unhappy. What's that? May, no, you talking about, you talking about Joe? No. This is another guy named John Stats, but, yeah, we should find out what went wrong down there, because we obviously don't.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat that. That's a good call.
And,
I understand it was because the people it was imposed upon the people. They didn't like it, and the city manager lost his job over it.
Wow. So I've gone door to door. Today, I went door to door all along DeSoto and gave these pamphlets to everybody that answered the door and put the other ones in their mailboxes to make sure that those people on DeSoto will have a... What, am I allowed to do that?
No.
You put a stamp on it before you did that.
I thought I was supposed to... No? Okay.
yeah, be careful about going into townhomes and satellite beach, too. They have
They
a-
probably took them out if it was before the mailman, so you gotta put them on the door.
You gotta put them either under like the mat a little bit or in the door.
Oh.
You can't go and put
Throw them in a
them
plastic bag. with a-
That's what I did for most of them was that. I did it in the door.
You're not gonna like get in trouble specifically, but you know, there might,
Yeah.
people are not going on campaign, I guess it should probably start there, but campaigning and stuff, like the good idea maybe moving forward, if you wanna hand these out, do like a door hanger,
Mm-hmm.
and you just hang it on the door.
That's what I was gonna do, but I had too much information.
Mailboxes are federal property.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
I was told by someone that it was okay.
Great months.
Okay.
I found out from a mail.
Learned, thank you. Noted.
That's a hard way to get the word out too, because I hate when people when my doorbell rings. I get angry.
What are you doing
Like,
here? This is my
I
house.
gotta get up, you know.
Yeah,
like-
it's funny how that's changed so quickly.
Oh, yeah, I know.
No one wants anyone coming to their door anymore.
Because it's never anybody that you want to talk. It's very rarely.
Yeah.
Except when Mindy comes by.
Yeah, it's just open your house, your dog comes in, and
Plus, my dog barks like a maniac when people come
Oh,
over
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
It would be cool though if there was like some neat little like biodegradable bags or something like that that we could use.
Hang them in there.
Yeah, something more eye-catching than the usual, you're like, oh, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, something that looks a
Well,
little different.
I should have put the city logo on the front, probably. That would have been a better idea.
What did you put on the front? Look.
Excellent. Something I found online that I liked a lot.
All right, so anything else on the Sustainability Summit? Or is that, we kind of got off topic there, but any public comment? Okay, moving on to item 6, discuss, take action on balloon environmental impact education.
I'll take that real quick.
Okay.
So City Hall and the Rec Center have partnered on a very simple piece of language that can be integrated into the existing contracts and agreements between residents or anyone that's renting, like the Pelican Park, gazebo areas or using city facilities, to not release balloons or paper lanterns as part of the agreement.
But they can still have them there?
As long as they dispose of them correctly, it's a Florida law that you're allowed to have balloons. So we don't want to try to go against law, but we want to recommend that as part of that agreement that they cannot release them.
But it says release into the atmosphere,
Mhm.
which excludes a broad ocean.
How do you mean?
I could see somebody, instead of filling a balloon with helium, you just have it and let it float off in the ocean, which is even
Well, they have to
worse.
dispose of them correctly, I think is part of it, the language. Like they have to be disposed of,
Okay,
thrown away.
Yeah, that was in the,
in the minutes for the
Yeah.
council meeting.
So that's on there. That's something that we're, I think, ironing out the language of. But I know that Courtney has been working with Jacqueline and myself to figure out that perfect language that best fits that concept. So, let you know more on that as it happens.
okay, so, any public comment? Anybody? All right. So item number 7, discuss, take action on increasing canopy within the city. And I think I had this added to the agenda, so I'll discuss it a little bit. So basically, with the hurricanes and just the tough environmental conditions that we have out here on the barrier islands, the canopy is pretty thin, and it's hard to establish it. So I know that, and maybe you can help me on this, Dylan, but there's something about neighborhoods that have canopy. Our canopy is like one of the number one things that maintain property values in a community.
Green space does. And it also prevents wind damage, which a lot of people beachside look at it as shelter for your home.
Yeah, they'll hold up, well, oak trees and things like that hold up really well in hurricanes, and they'll defoliate, and they've got such massive trunks that unless they're really tall, they protect the houses. But the main thing I'm interested in it for is just because we have a big problem with weeds and trying to keep weeds out of just about anything in Florida, and weeds don't grow in the shade. So if you have a shade garden, you don't have to worry about weeds, you don't have to worry about grass. So canopy is kind of a key thing to add to a community to create lagoon-friendly lawns and save energy because you have shade for your houses, and maybe protection from hurricanes if the proper trees are used. So I know we talked about how we would go about increasing the canopy, and one idea we came up with is with a community garden, we would basically try to grow a bunch of trees for free, just and then just give them to people.
So this is modeled after Titusville. They have a very similar program that already exists, and they've done a good job of revegetating areas that have a lack of canopy by just giving trees to residents to to do that in our city, as our conversation developed, I talked to John Stone, and as code enforcement goes, there's a requirement of so many trees per square feet of yard in someone's home. So if they have an invasive tree, like a carrot wood, which a lot of residents have, carrot woods, we could remove the carrot wood and replace it with a native tree that we could grow. So we could do a remove and replace program, which is a way to incentivize the program and keep support for it going. So I'm looking at funding opportunities for the removal and replacement, but if we can get the growing going,
Yeah,
I think that's the first step. So we'll do some workshops with kids. I got one during the summer planned for some stuff along DeSoto as the swales go, but we can expand it and do one day doing swales, one day planting trees. As long as we have the saplings available, we can do that.
Yeah, so we started talking about some of the trees that we would try to propagate. Gumbo limbo is one, because it's very easy to grow. So we're going to be looking for gumbo limbo
Bismarck palm,
limbs or
the
seedlings.
limbs are really easy to
Yeah,
do.
you can literally take a giant gumbo limbo branch, stick it in the ground, and it grows.
Yeah, well, that was all from Bill DeLucia. That was all Bill's training.
Yeah, Bill gave me some. And it was
Gave me like a pile of sticks, and he's like,
You remember that one?
oh, it's in my front yard, it's gorgeous.
That's what I mean. It was a stick, it was a big Y.
So what we can do is, Sampson's Island has plenty of trees that we could probably,
The whole neighborhood.
They're pretty.
grab a few baby saplings from. And grow
Royal
them.
Poinciana's not native, right?
What's that?
Royal Poinciana is not native.
So is that the purple one or the red one?
Orange.
Orange?
Well, I've seen them in Nicaragua. I think they might be
I think it is, isn't it?
I think they may be a South Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Florida.
Yeah, if you ever drive by, it's up to see what it is.
Yeah.
Really funny. So it's like a big, like a stick shaped like a Y.
Yeah, that's a good point. We need to promote fruit trees as well. Mangoes, grapefruits, kumquats, loquats, bananas. I mean, yeah, we could do that as well.
Now, another thing, if you're doing that, if you want to combine with something else, pick some of the fruit trees.
That's
Non-invasive.
Mm-hmm.
But,
mangoes.
yeah, mango would be popular. You got to be careful. Our experience with mango, my wife bought like 3 or 4 planted. Several of them grew to maybe 15 feet. The one in the backyard's probably 30 feet and entangled in the power line.
Yeah, they get big.
Well, some do, and some of ours have and some haven't. Apparently, the variety makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And with oaks, I would suggest the native scrub oaks. There are several varieties, not the live oak. Live oak gets very large. We planted one. My wife finally had it taken out because it would be fine unless it fell,
Right.
and then it would take out the house.
Let's
You'd have to have.
So power lines, plumbing is another thing, making sure that when we do these programs and talk to residents that, they get planted in the right spot.
Yeah, that's very
Now-
important.
now
That
one-
can just cause more problems if they're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that we.
Other plant that's a good shrub, it's not a true tree, is the
Privet.
privet.
Mm-hmm. Jamaican caper.
Well, the nice thing about privet
some of
is
those.
it is easy to propagate.
Yeah.
And you can stick it in, it'll grow quickly. I've got a hedge that's been there now, I think 20 years at least. You can train it like a hedge if you want, or you can put it a single specimen. Now, during Irma, our tall broke off. It will tend to be a little bit brittle.
Which one is that?
The privet.
Oh, the privet.
Yeah.
Privet.
How tall do they get?
Ours has gone to about, I think it has gone to about 25 feet.
Firebush also gets pretty tall.
But those are small.
Well, I think what
I
what
mean,
Dave said was good about fruiting.
Well, the other
Trees
thing is,
also.
you have to, out here is different than Titusville. They don't have to worry as much about the salt air. And
That's
things.
true.
And So, you know, if you're gonna come up with a list, one thing would be to go talk to Sharon Dolan at Maple Street Natives and, you
See
know,
what works out here.
find out from experience, or there's quite a few people that have planted natives in the city, is what's worked and hasn't worked.
And if you can get a cutting or a sprout from that person, that genus, that particular plant has accumulated a lot of, you know, salt tolerance and native resistance to wind.
Such as,
and-
yeah, silver buttonwood seems to have done pretty well along A1A.
Mhm.
Irma really beat them up, but.
As a hedge, they do really well. What else was a tree?
Yeah, so even some palms, I guess, if we
Yeah.
want, I mean,
Those big
So,
silver Bismarcks, is it? Is it
yeah,
by the garden? There's so many little ones.
if you talk to people, they're almost considering Bismarcky as invasive now.
Are they really?
They-
Yeah.
They readily propagate.
That's
like,
true.
We're, I've got some growing, just sprouting all over the place where you just have to mow them down because they just,
Really?
Yeah, they're not sustainable to anybody, even including squirrels, because no one can live there.
I had-
They don't produce anything, they don't eat anything.
All right,
They're out in the
scratch
back
those
backyard.
from us.
There's not really anything there.
but they do provide great canopy because they're huge, they're big and they.
Sure, but we got oaks and gumbo limbos for that.
Yeah, so how does everybody feel about, if we do have a program like this, should we limit it to only natives, or should we also offer just trees that would grow out here good and also provide canopy?
Probably best to start with natives and see how that goes. Gotta be careful with some of the trees too, is, you know, like carrotwood people brought in, and it's become a problem now.
Yeah, if you talk to Bill DeLuca, he wants to plant, what do they call that, strangler fig. I'm like, why would you want to plant that? But he says they're beautiful trees, but I don't know why you'd ever, I mean, I guess.
Once they
people like-
strangle out the palm.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to plant them, and birds drop them everywhere, but they are kind of cool looking.
Oh, they're very cool.
In a big, like, over by the schools maybe, where you have a big area that,
They go for water.
They might go under your, exactly.
I
Yeah.
think native makes more sense.
They search for water.
well, they are native. It's a strangler fig.
Well, I mean, just in general, I was just
Okay.
responding to that.
Yeah, but I think,
something
like-
that should be a consideration too, and I don't ever green them,
I would
so if this
definitely
makes
not
me
put
sound really
strangler
ignorant,
trees on
then I
the list.
apologize in advance. But especially like if we're growing them in the garden and then we're transplanting them, then, you know, we should
Mangoes
maybe take
everywhere.
into account like the
Mangoes
amount of time that
everywhere.
it would really take for them to kind of ground themselves in case that a storm comes, that they don't become a projectile or, you know, fall, since the idea is that, you know, these can be windbreakers and all that. So just making sure that, like, you know, maybe these particular trees we don't, you know, transplant to yards after February or, you know.
Giving a
So
period of
let's-
time, that's smart.
Let's come up with a list,
Okay.
and then we will run it by some plant experts, like at Maple Street Natives, or just somebody in the Native Plant Society, and maybe Bill DeLuca, and some people
Okay.
like that.
And we can vote on it.
And then we can try to narrow it down to what we think we can readily get seeds for. And then as we get closer to growing season, because it's a little early still to be thinking, well, it's not early to be thinking about it, but in the next month or two, what I would like to do is get together some volunteers and
Start propagating.
start propagating. Because we have sources in the city, we have sources outside the city where we can get a lot of native plants, not only canopy trees, but grasses and things like that, and start getting them propagating and just put them over in the community garden and
Sea grapes too. I mean,
sea grapes. Yeah.
I know not everybody loves them, but
Yeah. Maybe hates them.
they make a fine jelly.
The leaves are pretty bad.
I just have a
It makes a
question.
lot.
Yeah.
What if we have somebody who's interested in natives right now? What steps should that person take as of right now?
As far as,
As far as redoing their yard with natives, I mean, what?
There's several people in the city that, you know, the wife and I have played with natives for, I guess, going on 30 years now,
yeah, you
20
were one of the
years.
first yards to go.
I can't think of his name right now, lives on Jamaica, down there, right about where Lynn hits. He's got native landscaping on the west side.
Yeah,
I just over there.
And,
the corner house,
not the corner, not,
by Trinidad, yeah.
That lady, she'll talk.
Oh, that lady's really nice too, yeah.
Super nice. And she, all
That's the thing.
She grew, everything is from seed, and it's all, she uses only irrigated water. She composts everything, there's no chemicals.
the thing to do would be
Doesn't use any
to
fertilizers.
build a list of
She lives on that land.
individuals
Every day.
who are practicing the art, and if they're willing to, and most folks involved with natives are willing to talk to people, and if they agree, make a little pamphlet that says, my wife and I, years ago, made a list of, and I'm talking in the 90s, a list of people that had, and addresses of not necessarily totally native, but nice native yards.
Yeah,
And,
Okay, so,
I'll go over and find out who that person is on Jamaica. I'm over there quite a bit.
okay, so yeah, let's all look around our neighborhoods, try to find sources for natives.
if they want to be on like a team, we could put them on a list on the website and make that available for people.
Well, and we've got February
So,
22nd for
There's something that
sustainability work.
I've been working
That's
on
good.
with Ken Linderman for some time, and it's essentially
What
on
is that,
that
Dave?
exact concept where
Team natives?
someone wants to get involved in native plants but doesn't know how, and looks at their yard as a massive, like, project. And essentially what he's come up with, or what he does, is where he started with tarps originally, now he does boards. Like, he puts down a piece of wood, either in the shape of a circle, a rectangle, a triangle, whatever it is, puts rocks on it, it kills your St. Augustine. And then you can tear up the St. Augustine in that shape and start experimenting with little gardens. So you don't have to go all out in the beginning. And it just allows you to transition into it instead of,
Yeah, that's
I think
smart.
that's the way most folks have done it. They start, they put in a plant, and gee, that did well, I like
but
it.
and
They
that,
put in-
what I'm saying is we need to be educated, and that's why that video is being made, is so that people can understand you can get into it, one corner at a time. Like he has Ken Linderman has 7 gardens, just so you understand, technically 7 different gardens.
Yeah.
Because of the way he's slowly taking over so that, he can actually have the whole, his wife wants turf. And he's strategically slowly eating away at everything.
Yeah, I've kind of seen his yard change over the years and how he's sneaking in and out more. I'd fight that battle too, because my wife likes turf. and-
That's
I've
true,
been
yeah.
documenting it over the last year. We had a really good video on it, but it's just a funny thing to experience. How
Okay.
it's like,
We'll
that
promote
whole
that,
dynamic
too.
between them, where she's like, no, I want turf grass, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna expand a little over here, a little over here.
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah,
just to bring it back in on the Canopy thing, we're going to come up with a list. We're also going to try to get native plant and just other people that are propagating things. I've got tons of foxtail palms. We can bring those. I know
That's good. So a list of people and a list of plants, and then we can tie it into one of the workshops.
and just give stuff away.
Yeah.
And even if, I would think we'd want to try to promote natives as much as we can, but if we find somebody that's absolutely not going to put natives in their yard and they're dead set on having the tropical landscape, as long as they have something growing there rather than nothing, I think it's still a benefit.
Actually, don't forget, the beautification board has, in March, has their sale.
That's right. We'll be part of the Coastal Garden Fair. That reminds me.
When in March is that? Sorry.
St. Patrick's Day
Is that at the DRS Center?
at the DRS Center. And that reminds me, one other thing I needed to get from everybody was who wants to be involved on February 17th for the Sampson's Island Open House. I will be going over there promoting sustainability. We'll take the boat over, we'll have a table and some chairs,
I'm gonna come with and do a video.
do a video. Dave, you'll be there?
Yeah, I'll be there. We usually do like a kayak in subs that we bring people out for free. It's usually by Paradise Paddles, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They donate some kayaks and things like that. We take people out and we do that.
So does this happen, this happens the same day as that event?
It does.
So,
So there's two events happening that day. There's Sampson's Island Open House, and there's the Lagoon, what's it called? It's
not even sure.
Lagoon Plant Seminar or Plant, I should know this. It's put on by City of Melbourne, and it's going to be at the O'Galley Auditorium, and I want to say it's like,
Oh, the Red Fruit Club, is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
They
the
do every
Brevard
year.
Fruit Council, or now it's called the Brevard Tropical.
Well, it's not exactly that, but it's with UF, City of Melbourne, Palm Bay,
I know, that's something else.
and it's, I'll let everybody know the name of it exactly. But if you can't come to the Sampson's Island Open House, I recommend going to this Lagoon Lawn,
Oh, okay, that's in February.
yeah, seminar.
It's Saturday, the 17th.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll let you know. I'll talk to my family.
Okay.
We're big Sampson
You'll be
Island
camping?
people,
I'm
so.
out of town.
Here on town.
Is the city doing anything about those boats on the south side?
Yes. So for Sampson's Island, they are working with the county, and the county is working to remove them as part of a big effort to remove a lot of debris from the hurricane. It's been there longer than everybody would like, but it is on the list.
There's two boats now.
Yeah, did you see the second one?
Yeah, they just parked it there. And
It's just gone. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on, unless there's public comment on the last one about the,
Move on.
yeah, okay. Public comment on the tree canopy? Is that what you want to
Yes,
talk
on the
about?
tree canopy, Mindy
Okay.
Gibson, 110 Sherwood. The only thing I wanted to bring up is when we're talking about doing the canopy plantings, and then if we're trying to promote people to be moving to solar, we want to be really conscious of where we're telling these people to plant these trees, because you plant these oaks, and they get to a certain, it might be okay now, but later on down the road, this could be a problem for
That's
them
a
getting
good
the
point.
sun. So you really want to make sure that when you're guiding them, guide them, away from the north side, or just to be conscious of what the future will hold for those homes.
Yeah, I've just,
Also, that's a benefit of some of the scrub oaks.
we
Yeah.
really,
Do
need
not
to-
get to
we really need to start thinking about solar easement too, because as more and more people get solar on their roofs, it's real easy for your neighbor to plant a tree, and it goes up and shades your solar, and there goes your savings and your investment of $13,000 or whatever you paid for it.
Yeah.
So that, and I don't know how, there's got to be, but we need to, we need to start educating people before this becomes like a major,
Well, I think you want to handle it be very conscious of how you're talking about the planting of trees, because you
Right.
want to make sure that people are aware what the effects of these bigger trees, and you just want to think maybe about this a little bit, because it could go in one direction or the other. So, I mean, that canopy is important, but to me, like personally, I would think people going solar is more important than pushing people to put trees in.
yeah,
Just
Good
a
point.
thought. So, anyways.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just had to kill a gigantic Bismarckia on my side yard because it started to shade my solar.
Really?
I mean, it was probably like 25 feet long. Huge trunk like this, but had to kill it.
Florida Friendly Landscaping Seminar.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to get that out there.
Any other public comment on the increasing tree canopy? I just have one thing. I know that the city of Titusville just did a survey on tree canopy in the city of Titusville. So when they come to the sustainability summit, we need to ask them about how they did that survey.
Yeah.
Whether it was just Google
And the
Maps
programs.
or some type of satellite imagery.
Just a quick input. A good resource on the tree discussion is Doug Tallamy's book. If you're familiar with it, Bringing Nature Home, he's done a huge amount of research on native plants and how things fit into the food web.
Is it geared toward like the Florida
I'm sorry?
Is it geared toward Florida environment, or is it more just?
Yeah, he's looked at it all over the country. He's a professor, head of the entomology department at the University of Delaware,
Okay.
and he knows Florida pretty well. But his point is that there are some trees that support what you're looking to do in terms of native plants, and others which do not support it. And he's got a set of tables at the back of the book that I think you'll find very helpful in making a decision.
Okay, sounds good.
What was your name, sir?
My name is John Sotoff.
And the name of the author again?
The name of the author is Douglas Tallamy, Talllemey.
Bringing Nature Home.
And the title of the book is Bringing Nature Home. You can get it in paperback for $20, I think.
Okay, thanks, I
All right.
appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks for coming to our meeting, too. I'd love to have input from people. Okay, any other public comment?
Quick question, John, are you the one that you're in the group with Bo and Karen that have been pursuing, talking with the cities, right?
That's Rethink Energy Brevard, right?
Well, Karen's Rethink Energy Brevard, but that's not necessarily,
Well, people working.
Bo's like his own animal.
Yeah.
He does a lot.
Yeah.
you know.
All right.
Nice to see you out here. Thank you for joining us.
All right, item 8, project updates from board members. I guess we'll start with, it's been so long, I don't even know what project I'm working on.
You're working on sustainability stuff.
Well, yeah, I know that, I guess, yeah, so,
Project update.
project updates, do you have anything?
Any projects you're working on?
Not at this time. It's basically Sampson Island. It's just like we talked about before, just to be here on, which is coming up soon, which is February 17th.
Yeah, I'm bummed that I'm not gonna be here for that, because I really wanted to go, but I'll get out there some other day. So, you probably don't have anything, because, you got any project updates on?
No,
What about the,
yeah, so the bubbles are still blowing. Allied Group added another method of blowing bubbles. So they're blowing what they're calling, they describe them as nano bubbles, and evidently these bubbles are so small that they actually aren't buoyant. They literally will stay in the water column or along the bottom. FIT's been pretty tight-lipped about what's going on. When I see John, he's very cordial, and he is very pleased with the dissolved oxygen and things of that nature. But there hasn't been any revelation as it relates to what's going on with the bottom. And if you remember, Allied Group has some results of a study that they did in Lake Apopka, which did in fact change the bottom. Cattails were released from the bottom because they can no longer root, and the density of the bottom became so great that sea grasses, lake grasses were growing back in, and so there was a pretty good transformation as a result of their technology in Lake Apopka. But the reason why they're doing what they're doing now is because it has a slight tidal flow, and it also has the influence of other bodies of water. So, long story short, we don't know what it hasn't been revealed what's going on with the bottom, but the project's still going on. New technology has been introduced as of about a month ago. Yeah, it's still going.
Matt, how long has it been going on, approximately?
I think
So
since October.
it's almost a year?
Since October.
About 7 months? Okay.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they're gonna, if they're allowed to keep going, I think they're gonna try. I've got some oysters that are going like gangbusters. Yeah, so I don't know if
That's good.
if they're going like gangbusters everywhere, or if it's because the oxygen's blowing in the canal, or what, but yeah, the oysters are going pretty.
You mean you like have them in a bag or something?
Yeah.
Are you doing the cage with the
He
zoo?
asked me if I could put some on my dock, so. and I just scrub
Coming over
the
scrub
cages. Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat those.
We are gonna harvest anything for a while.
Well, you let us know, man. That's what we should have here at the,
Locally
summit.
grown oysters?
Yeah, locally harvested oysters.
Not that.
All right, so, is that, all you have?
Yeah, that's
Okay. So, yeah, I've been working on the Sustainability Summit with Jazzy, and we had a couple of meetings the last couple of months on that, and it looks like that's coming together really good. So that's pretty much all I had, although I do have one other thing that, you know that house across, or that everybody was curious about with the solar that's integrated into the tile?
Mm-hmm.
I just cruised by there one day, and
Which house?
it's on the west side of South Patrick Drive.
Matthew?
It might be.
Is it Grant right there?
It's behind the bait shop, kind of,
Okay.
a little bit further south. But it's
And
right
the
on,
Montessori and the boat storage.
right behind Montessori.
Yeah, that's on Matthew Street, I think it is.
Yeah, so I talked to the lady about it, and I went up, because I was looking at it, or we were looking at it on Google Maps, and it's hard to tell what it was, but they're actually tiles.
That's awesome.
Almost like a Tesla roof that was integrated, that somebody created a long time ago. And so on our south-facing garage, there's a bunch of these tiles that are integrated with our flat concrete tiles. And
You can't miss it when you drive by.
she told me the whole story about it, that there's no microinverter, so one of them failed. And the problem with that is to figure out which one it is,
Oh.
you'd have to start ripping them all up. But luckily, they saw one that had like a brown spot in it, so they pulled that one up first, and that was the defective. But then they had to get replacements, and it was all, they're out of business, and they found a company in California, and they got a replacement. But she told me the whole story, but she's actually a really cool lady. I invited her to come here, but, so maybe she'll show in a future meeting and tell us more about her solar venture.
All right.
But anyway, that's all I have for what I've been doing. What about you, John?
I guess I've got a question, is where are we on solar here?
Currently,
Paperwork?
yep, paperwork, just ironing out the details of the agreement. And it's in the capable hands of our lawyer, Jim Beadle.
Well, we may get it by Christmas now.
I really hope so.
He was, I talked to John, or, is that his name?
Yeah.
What's the guy's last name? He came by my house and gave me a quote for adding more solar.
Oh, Jim Span?
Jim Smith.
No, it wasn't Jim.
Oh, he's got somebody else, yeah.
Oh, the tall fellow.
John Williams.
Okay.
But anyway, I liked him. I thought he was a great, very knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, they got a good reputation.
Yeah.
He's a rep of the company?
Yeah. From Barnes Solar. John Williams. And he had great, what I thought were very reasonable pricing. So. Were they low bidder, or were they just,
They were low, and they had good points in the community column. They had, as much American made as they could have, in comparison. And there was, an agreement with, I think, their ability to, maintain panel prices. So, that combined with a lot of other points made them a high scorer, along with a few other companies. And they just, it was a tight race. It was a really close race between those different solar companies.
really,
I mean, it was unbelievably close.
as far as cost or just everything?
Oh, as far as the scoring went,
Yeah.
even the cost was, very similar.
I think we made a good choice. So today, I think it was today, Trump imposed tariffs on
Yes.
imported solar.
But we made an agreement where we will maintain the cost as is, as of that date, as far as the agreement went. So we can we can go and maintain that cost point as an agreement with Brevard Solar as part of the presentation they made, and that's all on camera. And
Cool.
so that shouldn't affect us.
Yeah. It's supposed to raise the price a little bit for solar.
Well, yeah, a lot of people losing jobs too, apparently.
Well, I mean, you know, with the tariff, the import solar panels are gonna be more expensive, so it'll drive the cost a little bit all over, I guess, or
Hopefully only temporary.
not that many panels produced in the US.
Yeah.
And the panels that are produced are owned by Germans in our country, but still.
Yeah, I have Solar World, and they're German-owned, US-made.
Mhm. And the little tiny,
I think that was
That
the
was
city's
probably-
doing, Solar World panels? Or do you-
I'll have to double check. I don't want to misspeak.
That'd be good. All right, next. Jazzy, you got anything?
Been working on the summit planning with you, and I have attended all of the climate ambassador meetings, which really, I mean, I think it's a
Yeah, we come here every night now.
Yeah, I live here.
Yeah.
I brought my bag tonight. But no, I think it's really something that's exciting to be a part of, and I think, you know, hopefully we'll have a great impact on our city.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really, if you guys aren't involved, or
I get updates every day. So,
it's very cool what we're doing. And just great ideas being thought up, and I can't wait until we come up with some really progressive changes to our antiquated codes. And
we have to vote on it.
yeah, it's true. Some of them will probably come up for referendum. All right, Dylan?
So I'm working on a number of videos. I actually wanted to ask you, where are we with the electric car one?
As soon as they paint it and put up the signs.
As soon as they paint it and put up the signs.
Mhm.
So,
I'll get you a date to be within February.
Okay. That's a great window.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on with the solar at Pelican Park?
So it's in DEP permitting right now, and currently their scheduled construction completion date is before sea turtle nesting starts. That's their planned construction completion date, which is reasonable, and which is, you know, something that we want to see happen. So we're okay with that. As long as it's before sea turtle nesting starts, they'll be done.
That's March or April.
Yeah.
Why do they have to do that before sea turtle?
You know, just in case there's any lights at night or anything going on that might, you know, interfere with that. But once the paperwork's finished, it should go up within 2 months. Paperwork should be finished by March. So April, May. May is kind of sea turtles nesting season start, so they'll be done by then, and then we can add that in with the workshop series to talk about, you know, as well. So in December, when we talk about all the different updates and city projects, you know, we'll talk about that again, as well as in November, we'll talk about the solar review, and hopefully that'll also include the solar at Pelican, as well as we'll talk about the PACE program and possibly another program, which I found out about today, which when I learn more about, I'll bring to council and see if we want to go ahead with approving another similar program to PACE.
Yeah, I asked the John Williams guy with Brevard Solar about PACE, and he said nobody ever uses that.
Yeah.
As a funding source.
So this will hopefully be a little less.
I have a two-part question. How's it going with Delora? One thing,
We're meeting on the 29th,
okay.
What's that on?
Junior Sustainability Board.
Oh, yeah.
That's moving along pretty nicely. We'd like to get that going so that we can get started with projects with the kids. I've got a couple of grants out right now. I think I wrote 5 different letters for grants that need to be due by March. And I'll bring that all up next board meeting. And we'll talk about the different grants before I submit those. One of those is for the Junior Sustainability Board, just for some basic funding to try to get the kids started.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And
Number
then
2?
Second part, I donate my time over at John Verde Eco School. Just on Wednesdays, I do like PE races and stuff like that. But John was actually wondering if he wanted to start a sustainability branch over there. It is over the bridge on O'Galley, and have it tied into Satellite Beach. Is that even possible, or is that something we can obtain?
That's foreign territory. Yes, anybody.
So if because his wife, who's, they're there 24/7 working on that school, she actually wants to get involved somehow.
Like started.
There's a sustainability board for EGAD for that. She wants to start.
They can literally take everything that we've done. I mean, all the other cities are already doing this, where
Right.
they look at our plan, what we're doing, and they literally are copying us. Like,
Why
literally
not
step for
invite
step.
them
Yeah.
to the 8th?
I think
Absolutely.
he's coming.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
I don't know if it does that when I turn.
But double check with them, make sure that he's invited, please.
Yeah.
Okay. We can talk.
Yeah, no, I think I heard.
Because I know that his wife wants to get involved and start coming to meetings and do that back to the children. And so
Yeah,
they
it's
have
great.
they have a huge garden over there
Yeah.
that they're going to start.
I have some property in O'Galley, so I'm very interested in.
Is it for rent?
Why, are you looking to move?
I'm always looking.
You can't move. Well, I guess you can.
I'm not on, yeah, as an employee, I can live anywhere as long as I commute.
Okay, so I'll have him attend on the 8th and just bring his ideas.
Yeah,
to chat.
that'd be great.
Yeah, if they came to the next
Yeah.
meeting
hopefully we'll have
and
some,
stand up and talk.
We are gonna have some networking at the end, so
Absolutely.
That'll be more of the time for.
I like the kombucha angle. Let's really follow up with that kombucha angle. I love me some
I gotta
kombucha.
write that down. Okay.
Maybe tonight.
Let's spell kombucha.
The K.
Right here. Look down the line.
Oh, yeah.
CO.
Yeah, the good thing about her kombucha is it's got it on tap there, so I don't know if she makes it or what, but I don't think so. She gets it from somewhere.
Oh, I think I know actually where they get that. I don't know the name offhand, but I know, I have the card.
Is it the girl that goes to the Ocean Reef Festival?
Yeah.
I have a Scooby hotel if you would like to make your own.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I can give you one of those little Scoobies.
Oh, yeah?
It's big. You can make your own.
I'd love to try
Oh,
that.
that's cool. It's a workshop, a future
Workshop.
All right, so that I guess is all the other from board
Bless you,
members.
bless you.
Any public comment on that? Okay. Agenda items for the next meeting. What do you guys want to start talking about next meeting? What do we have on our green achievement targets that we want to start working on?
For the next one,
Yeah, do you have any?
I mean, dark skies is definitely of the next. Finishing ones we're currently on, which is the workshops and everything, and the soft infrastructure upgrades, which are part of the NEP grant. There's a couple. I'll come back with a few next time. Let's put that on there.
I've got one. I think we've talked about it a little bit before, but we have this new development in the city soon, across from Hightower Beach Park. And I really want to start opening up a line of communication with those guys. the
Okay.
developer. Do you have contacts with them?
Yeah, through the city and John, yeah.
Yeah. Can you get those and,
You thinking LEED certified building?
well, I want to invite them, we certainly should invite them to what we're doing to a certain extent. But I know one of our green achievement targets is to provide, kind of like what I used to do when I worked at the Florida Solar Energy Center, called the Building Design Assistance Center, that's what we called it. But in essence, what this function would be is that we would look at developers' plans and make recommendations on how they can improve the development, like maybe incorporating swales from the
Yeah,
get-go.
that's good too, okay.
Of course, having native plants, but incorporating solar into the design of their homes, as net zero homes.
Okay.
Thing to do is just for you to go and talk to John Stone.
Yeah.
And, see how much he's willing to let somebody get involved, kind of by
Okay.
his side.
Yeah, I'll talk to John about it. make
Because
sure-
that gives you, if you're dealing with the building official, that's different than somebody just talking to a developer, especially a developer doing million-dollar homes, as opposed to somebody tied to the, associated with the
That's
building
smart.
official.
Yeah, okay. Make
But
sure
yeah,
John-
at least it'd be nice to kind of get an idea of what their plans are and how we might be able to help point them in the right direction.
It might help if you put together a little resume relative to that, your experience with the center and stuff, and left it with you. So John knew it, but he could also say, I've got somebody here that's got, and the other thing is, Dylan, what about, you've got your LEED certification, right?
Yeah.
So that's another possible resource.
Okay, that's good.
Actually, we have two Dylans,
Yeah,
they're
two
both
Dylans, yeah.
LEED certified. And John took apparently the course material, but never took the test, so.
Yeah, who's that guy that was there last night?
Dylan Gibson.
Dylan Gibson. He was pretty interesting. Seemed very
And
nice.
solar. It's like a solar
And
set.
he lives in the city and
I don't know, I just met him last night, I don't really know.
want to be an ambassador. Right?
He's an ambassador, yeah.
All right, Dylan Gibson, cool. All right, yeah, I'll talk to John.
I have two things that I'd like to add to the agenda. I'd like to discuss an initiative to encourage businesses to not use straws. Maybe they have them available to customers, but they're not automatically putting them in the cups. Maybe just talk about how we could possibly implement that. And then, we had the business thing where we were offering all these other, renewable alternatives and compostable materials. And I think for the businesses that want to do it, the problem is that it's more cost prohibitive. So maybe we could look into if it's possible to have the city form like a co-op to reduce the costs so that our restaurants and other industry, businesses could start to actually utilize those things in their practices.
What about, do we have anything that's coming up that's, like a sustainability workshop where we have recycling and sustainable products? Maybe that would be, Nick. So did you hear what Jazzy said? She wanted to put, I guess, add an agenda item to
To form a
encourage-
co-op to reduce prices for companies that would like to, get the more sustainable forks and, things like that.
KBB already has that. They've already went out to certain, like compostable spoons and plates and.
KBB and the zoo.
And zoo.
They've
Yeah,
partnered
so-
to essentially become like zero waste. And
Yeah, so if a business and I try to, every time I go into like a restaurant, I try to encourage them to use the KBB program because I think it's already out there and rather.
So KBB already makes it affordable for,
Yeah,
KBB,
they have a
zoo,
list
the
of,
city. We're all on the same
okay.
page, and I think there's someone out there who's currently working on something like that, very similar.
yeah, so it's called the Litter Quitter Program. And if you go into a restaurant, I mention it to people, I mention it to Little Dose and.
I've heard of that. And I didn't know.
Yeah, so it's supposed to encourage them to not use foam or plastic to-go containers, basically get rid of all plastics, any type of disposable plastic items.
MRC has a similar one, and we're doing something very similar at our events.
Coasters does a great job with that. If you ever go to Coasters, they have these to-go containers that are just,
Backwater Cafe has really good to-go containers.
where's that?
In downtown Loveland,
Backwater Cafe.
nice little breakfast place with a pelican for their logo.
Oh, really?
White building, line out the door.
Next to Doug?
Yeah.
I'll have to go check that out.
Well, and
That's
So you want to make an agenda item, or you just
Listen,
want to?
well, if that's already a done thing, that's good, but I think.
But we
you
need
know,
to
maybe-
advertise it, promote it.
Yeah,
Just say
and
no.
then, as I said before, too, working on an initiative to encourage businesses to, like, discourage the automatic use of straws, you know, things like that. I pick up a lot of straws.
Don't suck, just blow. This is a campaign I've been working on for a long time, and it's been working. And I'm serious, I don't like the straws, and I've been telling restaurants,
You got to tell them right
Tell
from the
them
get-go,
No straw.
no straws.
And they kind of look at you like,
But then they look at you and then they go,
Do that, then
enough people do, and then there's.
It's a difference. That's all
Yeah.
I'm just telling them.
Someone was telling me that there's a restaurant somewhere in
Farm
town.
Doggers is gonna move towards it as well.
No, that's awesome, but they were saying that they don't give out the straws, whatever this restaurant is, they don't give out the straws to people. And if you ask for a straw, they make you go get it, and it's in like what's called a jar of shame.
That's hilarious.
So just
See?
things like that.
No, I don't know who that is, but I like
I
that.
heard it was in Satellite Beach, but I didn't. have
Really?
the name of it.
See? It's working.
Yeah, yeah,
It'll get there.
yeah. Oh, that's cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
So, do you still want to make it an agenda item, or do you just want to include it in this?
Well, I think we collect more information on it and then put it on the city website. So like, make it agenda items for everybody to like bring information or something like that.
Restaurants money.
We should ask, when, during the Sustainability Summit, we should definitely ask KPB about it.
And the zoo will be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the zoo has all compostable products too? At the zoo? Yes.
Yes,
Zoo, okay.
yeah.
All right, so any other, I mean, we really haven't
Any
come up with anything.
Any comment on that?
The peanut gallery.
I mean, as we talk about things in the universe, it kind of like happens around you. It's just nice to watch it come back, so I'm just gonna watch as it comes back.
Can we can add an agenda item before the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Terry Mott, he just asked me to show you this. I just wanted to bring this along. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but this is the Sustainability Survival Kit that the zoo just put out. And they had originally, this was the Women of the Wild program at the zoo. They had about 3 weeks ago, probably, they had Women of the Wild packing them. And they had entitled this program, I guess 6 people on the conservation team and the marketing team got together at the zoo and entitled this Restaurant Survival Kit. It's basically a doggy bag that you keep in your car. And so that night, I was asked to green an event. My name is Terry Mott, and was, as of this afternoon, the sustainability consultant for the League. And I was asked to green an event at the League. And we got thinking about it, and just the idea popped up that instead of calling it a restaurant survival kit, why not call it a sustainability survival kit? And they changed it the next day and blasted it out. So that's what it is. But I'm no longer the consultant with the League. I'm now president and founder of a nonprofit that's promoting sustainability. And I think this is the holy grail for Brevard.
Terry, can you show us what's in the bag?
Yes, I pass it around. It has a cotton napkin in here, and you can see it.
Can you use it like a lunchbox?
And then it's there.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lunchbox, totally.
It's a fundraiser for the zoo. Without the bottle, it's $30. With the bottle, it's $45. But anyway, I think this is the holy grail because I went out and I asked the team at the zoo if we could use this and brand it. All the nonprofits take this as the base and then brand it for their own organization. And they said, absolutely, we can do that as long as you keep it the WOW logo. So we're going to add, I'm marketing this through the HOA network because I've been on the board for about 10 years and we've been slammed because we don't have a welcome packet in our community. That's our new welcome packet So we're going to add our keychain or something that says my HOA community, and then we're going to put in there everything you ever wanted to know about living a sustainable life in Brevard, to include your link to your HOA docs, how to get your house painted, everything you'd want to know about just anything to do with HOA living and living sustainably. So that's my 2 cents for the night.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I have a,
Logo, welcome back to the city.
Yep.
Information about PACE program.
Yep.
Information about recyclable materials.
I'm going to ask Natural Resources to put their rain gauge in there. We're going to bring this around Brevard County and ask everybody to put something in it.
Mhm.
So every NGO, every public community, every public entity has some kind of a message in that bag, and then we're going to market it through the HOA network.
I will say that we can put pencils in there.
Great. Thanks.
And just last night, I suggested people bring their own cups, right?
And by the way, since I had to green an event, the two brands, for your upcoming event, the Verterra was the brand that Chris Castro used, Verterra, for products, the bamboo plates.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And Eco Products was the one that the zoo used. And I typed up a letter to you because I wanted to let you know the projects that my nonprofit's working on, because I'm going to be sitting here representing them instead of the league. But there's one very interesting thing that I wanted to that's very important to pass on, and that's, I don't know if you've heard of the company Bay Mulch, but they are apparently out of Plant City, I think, but they're trying to set up a commercial compost business in Brevard, and they're looking for 50 acres. So we've tasked that as one of our tasks to try to run around, but I want to put that out there. If you know of any 50 acres in Brevard where they could set up, the zoo's trying to help them, and we're all trying to help them set up a commercial composter. So,
They're not going to find that beach.
I mean, that's not the highest and best use of the land up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's under.
Oh, okay.
It's approved.
The lake.
Yeah, that's happening.
When's that happening?
Hopefully by the end of the year we'll get
Oh,
started.
these are straws.
Those are straws. So go. What's this water bottle made out of? I'll be a real stickler.
BPA-free plastic.
Nice.
Yeah, but technically, yeah, they replaced BPA. It has an estimate, but it's just about,
We can go with like metal, right? We can go with like metal or something.
metal is probably the safest out of anything.
All right, so.
Algae, we can
As
do.
long as it's not
build out
steel
algae.
pipe, then you don't want that toxic steel inside there.
So that takes care of the agenda items for next meeting. If anybody has anything else that they come up with before the next meeting, I guess we can send it out through email and have it put on the agenda.
Is this all plastic?
So the next item is discuss, take action on chair and vice chair position. So as you know, we lost Eugene. He is traveling a lot, and we also lost, what was that guy's name? Is that what you are doing?
Oh, Paul.
Paul. So we have two.
Paul stepped down.
Paul stepped down, and Eugene got extremely busy, I think.
Yeah, I think he's traveling. He's going overseas.
Yeah. So I'm the current vice chair.
Chair.
I'll move that if you don't object, that you become chair.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Any second?
Oh, second.
Okay.
Grace?
So we need to vote.
Make more noise.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm typing it out.
I'm trying to catch up.
John Fergus,
Yes.
David Bigliotti?
Yes.
Okay, Jesse Hennings?
Yes.
Matt White?
Yes.
Okay, Christopher Reed?
Yes.
And Dave?
I get to vote?
On yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're not allowed
Just say
to
no.
abstain from
See what happens.
Yes.
You could have been the only
I
one.
could say no. That's all right.
Would have been the way.
It wouldn't matter?
Okay, so if you guys want me to be chair, then we're gonna need a vice chair. So do we have any nominations for vice chair?
You happy? Happy being vice chair? I'll nominate Jazzy if she accepts.
Go for it.
I second.
Who's second?
I second.
Okay.
Your chair.
All right. John Fergus?
Don't not be
Yes.
here.
David Bigliotti?
Yes.
Jesse Hennings?
Yes.
Matt White?
Yeah.
Christopher Reed? And David Floyd?
Yes. Right. Okay, that was quick.
I'll move to adopt the minutes.
Well, I had a correction to the minutes.
Okay.
I was in attendance and it wasn't listed as being in attendance, so. Is that a big deal, or?
That should be corrected, yes.
Okay,
So we can move they be adopted as corrected.
can we do that? Okay. All right. You want to make the motion?
Did you catch the correction?
No. This-
Just that my name was not on the,
Which
list
one
of-
was it, the date?
The minutes from October 27th.
October 27th.
For some reason, I was here on time, too.
David. You have the license plate from the first car still? Yeah, special one?
So,
John has it.
so John moves that the minutes from October 27th be adopted with the correction, the noted correction of attendance.
I just need that.
And I second.
Right. Okay. John Fergus?
Yes.
David Bigliotti? You just left. Okay, Jesse Hennings?
Yes.
Matt White?
Yes.
Christopher Reed?
Yes.
And David Floyd?
Yes. All right, that's it. I appreciate everybody coming out. Meeting adjourned. Next meeting, February 28th.
I'll see you all here tomorrow.
Yeah, and the day after too.
The day after?
I was here